Hey team, Jen here. We are wrapping up week 5 and moving into week 6 as we finish reading Race's Wide Sargasso Sea and move into Gabriel Garcia Marquez's Love in the Time of Cholera. Very distinctive texts, both of them, and very individual texts as well. But there's also some good synthesis, some synthesizing that can happen between Rice's and Marquez's novels. As we move into week 6, and as you think about your discussion board post for this week, as you read Love in the Time of Cholera, I'd like you to start to get a mindset of what it means to synthesize texts. Now, to synthesize text means that you are reading a primary text in relation to other texts. You're seeing parallels, you're drawing, you're making connections, you are seeing threads that carry through both. You're noting similarities and key differences that help us to construct meaning in those texts. As you move forward in any literature course, I think it's very important that you are constantly synthesizing the texts that we've read so far. So here in week 6 and onward, I'm going to have a lookout. I'm going to be looking out for students who are showing some kind of synthesis. Is there anything from Marquez's novel that can connect us to ways that we read novels earlier in the term? Have there been any threads, any topics, any themes, any presentations of certain issues that carry through and can help us to better grapple with the text on the table and also text that we've already read? So the key word this week is absolutely synthesis. And there's certainly a lot to synthesize in Marquez's novel. He addresses so many large-scale topics like love, right? Aging, illness. There's so much going on in this novel that it shouldn't be difficult. It's not a difficult text to have a mindset of synthesis. Coming up in week 6, you have, in addition to your reading and your discussion board post, you also have your third response paper, which pertains to Jean Rice's Wide Sargasso Sea. So last week I asked you to make sure that you were brainstorming some ideas for an interesting context about this novel. Keep in mind that you never need to write to the prompt for anything, and I encourage you never to do that unless you really feel like you're lost. I've noticed that a lot of students have been drawing from past discussion board forums for their context ideas, for their response papers, and that is phenomenal. That's exactly what I have wanted you to do. That's what the discussion boards are really great for, is catalyzing new ways to think about these texts. So as you move into writing about Wide Sargasso Sea this week, if you find yourself kind of floundering, not really knowing what to focus on, feel free to always go back to the discussion board forum. You can find so many great ideas there that need a lot more attention and unpacking. So that is a tip to take forward with you for response paper number 3. Finally, in week 6, you have due your first draft of your final paper. You may remember that in week 5, you had a rough draft due, and I wanted to take a minute to just kind of disambiguate the differences between a rough draft and a first draft. Now, a rough draft is whatever kind of methodology, whatever your writing process looks like to get you to this point of a actual first draft. A rough draft is rough, and it can take a very wide number of forms. For example, you might use software like XMind or Inspiration or other kind of mind mapping tools to plot out what you want to do. You could do a traditional outline like you're taught to do as an undergraduate. You could do cutting and pasting salient passages and just starting by just doing close reading and analysis of those passages. Your rough draft could be an introduction and a conclusion and then an outline in the middle. It could be a video, it could be a drawing, it could be really anything at all. A rough draft takes a wide variety of forms. It's an indication of the beginning of your writing process. a first draft. And your rough draft was submitted in the workshops and did receive feedback from your peers. That I want you to take the feedback that you got from your peers, and I want you to try to apply that to your first draft. Now, this week, your first draft is something much more polished than a rough draft would be. A first draft is something that is for my eyes only, which means your first draft is going to get direct feedback from me that is going to play a pivotal role in your final revisions for this paper. So you want to give me as much as you possibly can that is closest to where you're at right now. If you give me a paragraph, unfortunately, you're probably not going to garner the kind of feedback that's going to be fruitful for you in your drafting process. Whereas if you give me a 13-page paper, chances are that you're going to receive in-depth comments that are going to help you to reimagine your work. So keep that in mind as you go forth. The first draft cannot be an outline, a painting, a video, any of that. It ought to be as close to a true essay as you can get it, according to MLA format and according to the line of inquiry that is so important for writing academic essays. So keep that in mind this week. As you go forth through week 6, I hope you guys really enjoy reading Marquez's novel. It is a great piece of magical realism, and it is problematic in so many ways, as all texts worthwhile are. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the discussion forum, and be sure to be on the lookout for my posts in the forum, where I oftentimes will make videos and pose questions that are designed to help you think more critically about the text. I'll see you then. Bye for now.